You said something completely normal, something you've said 100 times, and the moment it left your mouth, you felt it. A shift. The room got quieter. Their faces closed off. You lost them, and you still don't know why. In the next few minutes, you'll hear 12 phrases that silently kill your credibility with younger generations. Some will surprise you, some will sting a little, but every single one is worth knowing before you say it again.
Gen Z and Millennials don't lose respect loudly. They don't argue. They just disconnect. And the trigger is often language, specific phrases that signal you're out of touch, dismissive, or simply not safe to trust with real conversation.
Because I said so. This phrase has ended more conversations than any argument ever could. When you say, "because I said so," you're not asserting authority. You're revealing that you've run out of reasons. And younger generations who grew up questioning everything hear exactly that. They were raised in an era of information. Google was always one tap away. So when an adult refused to explain their reasoning, it didn't feel like discipline. It felt like control, like something was being hidden. Today, when they hear this phrase from a manager, a parent, or a leader, that same childhood alarm goes off. Trust quietly walks out the door.
We've always done it this way. Nothing signals a closed mind faster than this sentence. For Gen Z and Millennials, tradition isn't automatically respect-worthy. It has to earn its place. They grew up watching entire industries collapse because someone refused to adapt. Blockbuster, Kodak, newspapers. The phrase, "we've always done it this way," doesn't inspire loyalty in them. It triggers quiet panic. It tells them you're not a leader navigating forward. You're someone holding on to a map of a city that no longer exists. And in a world that changes faster than most people can process, that's not authority. That's a liability.
You're too sensitive. This phrase does something particularly damaging. It doesn't just dismiss what someone said, it dismisses who they are. Gen Z grew up in a mental health conversation. They learned the language of feelings, boundaries, and emotional safety from a young age. When someone tells them they're too sensitive, they don't think, maybe they're right. They think, this person is not safe. And once that label sticks, once you become someone who minimizes emotions, your words carry a permanent asterisk. You might be brilliant, you might be right, but they've already decided they won't be fully honest with you, and that distance never fully closes.
That's not how the real world works. Here's the irony. The people most likely to say this phrase are often least prepared for how the real world actually works. Right now, Gen Z and Millennials built careers on platforms that didn't exist 10 years ago. They've survived recessions, a pandemic, a completely broken housing market. So when someone older says, "that's not how the real world works," they don't hear wisdom. They hear someone defending a rule book that's already been rewritten. It doesn't land as guidance, it lands as gatekeeping, and it instantly positions you as someone who stopped learning, which is the fastest way to lose the room.
Man up, toughen up. This phrase carries decades of damage inside it, and the people saying it usually have no idea. Man up, toughen up. Don't be a crybaby. These aren't motivational phrases to younger generations. They're red flags. They signal that emotional expression is weakness, that vulnerability is embarrassing, and that the person saying it has built their identity around suppressing feelings rather than processing them. Millennials have the highest therapy rates of any generation. Gen Z normalized mental health conversations in ways that were unthinkable 15 years ago. When you tell them to man up, you're not inspiring strength. You're showing them exactly why so many people suffer in silence.
We're halfway through, and I want to ask you something honestly. Have you already recognized yourself in one of these? Because most people have. And that's not a reason to feel defensive. That's actually the point. These phrases aren't used by bad people. They're used by people who learned a certain way of communicating and never got the feedback that it wasn't landing. The second half of this list gets more specific, more modern. Some of these phrases are ones you probably heard just last week or said. Stay with me. The next 6 mattered just as much as the first.
Back in my day, every generation has earned its stories. The problem isn't having them, it's weaponizing them. When back in my day becomes a comparison that ends with, so you have it easy, or we didn't complain, it stops being a story and starts being a verdict. Gen Z and Millennials aren't interested in suffering Olympics. They're not going to respect your authority more because you walked uphill both ways in the snow. What they respond to is relevance. What they trust is someone who takes their current reality seriously, not someone who uses the past as a measuring stick to make the present seem small. No offense, but everyone under 40 knows exactly what comes after no offense, but something offensive. This phrase has become so transparently self-serving that it functions as a warning label, not a disclaimer. It signals that the speaker knows what they're about to say is unkind, and they've decided to say it anyway, while asking not to be held accountable. For younger generations who value directness and emotional honesty, this kind of linguistic loophole reads as cowardly. They'd rather you just say the hard thing plainly, or not at all. The preemptive shield doesn't protect you. It just tells them you already know you're wrong.
You just need to pay your dues. This phrase made sense in a world where loyalty to one company for 30 years guaranteed a pension and a gold watch. That world is gone. Gen Z and Millennials watched their parents do everything right, work hard, stay loyal, pay their dues, and still get laid off, lose their savings, or retire with nothing. So when someone tells them to just be patient and pay their dues, they don't hear encouragement. They hear a system defending itself. They hear someone who benefited from rules that no longer apply, asking them to play along anyway. That's not inspiring. That's asking someone to trust a bridge that's already collapsed.
That's just how business works. Younger generations built entire movements around questioning exactly this phrase. They watched corporations pollute, exploit, mislead, and then use "that's just business" as a get-out-of-jail-free card. For Gen Z especially, business is not separate from ethics. They choose employers based on values. They quit jobs over culture. They boycott brands with a single tweet. So when you use this phrase to justify something that feels wrong, cutting corners, dismissing people, ignoring impact, they don't think you're being pragmatic. They think you've decided convenience is more important than conscience. And that tells them everything they need to know about who you really are.
I'm just being honest. Honesty is not a weapon, but this phrase is often used like one. I'm just being honest frequently serves as permission to say something cruel without consequence, a way to dress up on kindness in the language of virtue. Gen Z and Millennials didn't grow up believing that bluntness equals truth. They were raised in a culture that started asking, can you be honest and kind? Can you be direct and considerate? When someone prefaces a cutting remark with, I'm just being honest, they don't earn respect, they lose it. Because younger generations have learned that cruelty with a disclaimer is still cruelty. Why are you always on your phone? This one might be the most ironic phrase on the list, because the people saying it are usually also on their phones. But beyond the hypocrisy, this question carries an assumption that digital life is somehow less real than physical life. For Gen Z,
The phone isn't a distraction from their world. It is part of their world. Community, creativity, career, connection, all of it lives there. When you dismiss that with frustration or contempt, you're not protecting them from technology. You're telling them their reality doesn't count. And the fastest way to lose someone's respect is to make them feel like their entire life is a problem to be solved. Here's what all 12 of these phrases have in common. None of them are said with the intention to harm. Most are said out of habit or pressure, or because someone once said them to us and we survived. But surviving something doesn't make it harmless. Language carries history. Phrases carry power. And the gap between what we mean to communicate and what the other person actually receives, that gap is where trust either builds or breaks. Understanding why these words land badly isn't about guilt. It's about awareness. And awareness in communication is the beginning of everything that actually works. Think about a time someone said one of these things to you. Maybe a parent, a boss, a teacher. Do you remember how it felt? Not just in the moment, but after. How it made you smaller, or more guarded, or less likely to try again. That feeling is exactly what you are creating when you reach for these phrases under pressure. Not because you're trying to, but because we tend to repeat what we've absorbed. The people who've said these things to you probably didn't realize the weight they were carrying either. That's the quiet tragedy of unexamined language. It echoes forward. So what do you replace these phrases with? Start with curiosity instead of conclusions. Instead of, because I said so, try, here's my thinking, tell me yours. Instead of, you're too sensitive, try, help me understand what landed wrong. Instead of, that's just how business works, try, I hear the concern, let me think about that. These aren't soft alternatives, they're stronger ones. They invite dialogue instead of shutting it down. They signal that you're someone worth talking to, not just someone to report to or survive. And that shift from authority through control to authority through trust is what actually earns lasting respect. None of this means you have to agree with everything Gen Z or Millennials believe. You don't have to abandon your values or pretend generational differences don't exist. Respect isn't agreement. Authority isn't uniformity. What younger generations actually want, more than anything, is to feel like they're talking to someone who's genuinely present, someone who takes them seriously enough to explain, to listen, to adjust. The phrases in this video don't just fail with younger people. They fail with anyone who wants to feel seen. Dropping them isn't a cultural concession. It's just better communication. And better communication makes everything, every relationship, every team, every conversation, work. Before you move on from this video, just sit with one question. Which of these 12 phrases is yours? Not because you're a bad communicator, but because we all have one. A default under stress. A go-to when we feel challenged, or dismissed, or simply tired. The phrase we reach for when we don't know what else to say. Identifying it doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're paying attention. And paying attention to how your words land, to what they signal, to the gap between your intention and their experience. That's not weakness. That's exactly what authority looks like when it's actually earned.